Ahoy crew, Silver Strike Steve here of the Black Spot Guild, here to do another Cutlass review. I've been doing, slowly but surely working my way through a whole bunch of different Cutlasses, and I got another one just the other day, so I've been anxious to do a review of it, because I love it. So this one's going to be the Captain Jack's Cutlass by Pirate Fashions. Pirate Fashions is a awesome store down in Tampa, Florida. They have all kinds of really great pirate stuff, and they actually had this cutlass made specifically just for them. So it's the only place you can get it, and that's really cool. Overall, let's see, they charge $200 for it, which is fantastic, plus shipping. Love that sound. So $200 plus shipping, and I'll give you a little overview of it here first. Overall, it is 30 inches long with a 24-inch blade. 24 inches is perfect for a cutlass like this. It's about the average. It is the average of all the similar cutlasses that are out there. I love this stamp they put, engraving down at the base of the blade there for Pirate Fashions, their own little symbol. I love it. It's awesome. Super cool. Sets it apart from the others. It's 2 pounds 10 ounces. It's just about a perfect weight. The blade material is a 1060 high carbon steel. They put this super cool finish on it. It's like an etched finish too. That's not just like painted on there or anything. It's really part of the blade, so it's not going to rub off. I absolutely love the finish. It does come dull. It's a pretty wide, dull blade. Wide, dull edge. I think that's good and bad. I think this is going to be probably my new main boat cutlass. So I like that it's dull. I will keep it dull. If you want it sharp, then you can easily, one might not easily be able to do that because it's a fairly wide edge. But if you have a good grinder or a friend with a good grinder or something that's skilled at sharpening, then no problem. I could sharpen this up no problem at all. So that's why I say it's not a big deal. But yeah, you definitely want something you like an AccuSharp, something like that probably is not going to get it done. You need some kind of better grinder with some skill to sharpen this up. So the grip is going to be, overall, it's going to be solid brass that they put this fun antique finish on. But both the guard and the pommel are both solid brass. The grip itself is leather over wood, wrapped in a really cool fashion that makes it really grippy. I love it. And same thing for the scabbard. It's gonna be solid leather. No wood inside, which is pretty traditional for these cutlass scabbards, with brass accents on the top and bottom. Little nub there that's for when you put it in your baldric, your scabbard holder, cutlass holder. It doesn't slip through, so it'll stop it when you put it in the baldric. A lot of people don't know what that is, so I figured I'd explain it. All right, what else we got about this guy? The pommel is peened, so I actually sanded off the end here so we could try to see it a little bit better. But they peened it so well, it's very hard to see. I could see it with my naked eye, but with a camera, it's kind of hard to see. So peened pommel, that means the blade is one piece all the way from the tip through the grip to the very end of the pommel here, and then they hammer it and lock it all in tight. So you can't dismantle this without grinding off the end here. Then you could pull it apart, and then you'd have to figure out how you're going to re-peen it or refinish it some other way. Peening was the traditional technique for cutlasses, or most swords of the back then up until 1800s or so, they started doing threading. Most of like the sabers and whatnot started being threaded, or many of them did anyway after that. But many were still peened. So, but yeah, so peened, historical style for sure. Let's see, the temper. So when we talk about temper, we talk about if I bend the blade, how well does it return to straight. So this blade is really stiff, as it should be for a cutlass. So I'm taking significant force there to bend it. But it bends right back nice and straight. So this blade has a great temper. It bends, and it bends right back. That's what we're talking about with temper. And on that with the blade, distal taper. Distal taper refers to the thickness down here at the guard, and then how thick the blade is all the way down to the tip. Cutlasses, sabers, things like that didn't necessarily have much distal taper. That was more prominent, more common, at least a serious distal taper on like a medieval sword. And there's not much to this one, so it just basically just thins out at the tip. You got a false edge here at the reverse side of the blade here up at the tip, but that the blade itself is still basically just as thick. So not much distal taper, but again, not really necessary for a cutlass. I like that it's a good thickness for sure. Perfect thickness, I would say. Nice and thick all the way through. So yeah, it's a little bend to it, but nice and stiff, and that's what you want with a cutlass. The handling, how does it handle? Yeah, it handles fantastic. This blade has a little bit of heft behind it in a good way. In cutlass, you wanted it to be light and fast, but you also want it to be able to be a utilitarian tool. They use cutlasses not just for fighting, but for they bring them ashore and they're chopping stuff down in the on shore there for making new parts for their boats, what have you, making fires, even whatever. They use them as a tool, almost like we would use a machete. So having a little bit of heft to it is good. I think this one's perfect with that. Comparisons. What else is out there? So comparisons. When I speak of that, I target just specifically this style, and by this style, I'm going for a Jack Sparrow style. That is what they fashion this after. Hence why they call it the Captain Jack's Cutlass. So other cutlasses that are out there that are similar to a Jack Sparrow cutlass. I'll start in the back here, and I'm not going to go through them in great detail. I have another video that does that pretty well, but this is going to be the Southern Swords version. It's a peened pommel, solid steel blade, fantastic temper. It's great all around. The handles weren't quite as precise. This version I got is a little worse than others by them I got, with the wood being a little bigger than the metal parts of the guard and all. Not a problem though, and if I cared enough, I can easily take the leather off and sand it down, put new leather on. It'd be great. I might do that eventually, but no. So Southern Swords. These were about they were also about $200. Problem is they're discontinued. Can't get them anymore at all. So I tracked one down, and I am keeping that because they stopped making them. They're over in Europe, in the UK somewhere, and I talked to them about it. They said, nope, we're not doing more. Okay. So I got a hold of one, keeping it. Next up, you got the Hanwei Revolutionary War hanger, they call it. Almost identical to the Southern Swords version. The handle is more refined, though. This one was kind of the, hey, danger's here to visit. This is Rusi of the Rusi's Revenge, my sailboat. So this is kind of the standard in the Jack Sparrow, functional Jack Sparrow replicas out there. It cost about $350. Big difference on this one. They did throw some solid distal taper on there, so it starts thick and gets real thin. Well, not real thin, but thinner. And so what that does is it keeps the weight down of the blade. And since it's such a short blade, that doesn't make it too flexible at all. Still keeps it pretty stiff, but makes it a little bit handle a little bit better. So that's nice on this one. So yeah, the advantage of a little bit of distal taper to it. Otherwise, really similar, solid guard. It's steel on this one, steel on both of these, but very solid. This one is threaded actually, so if you can pop off this nut, this just sits in there. take that out, there's a nut in there, and this whole thing comes apart for easier cleaning when you're on the sea. That's great. Both of those come with scabbards. These actually both are wood core scabbards, so more proper wood core. Let's see, we'll put the this is the Southern Swords one on top here. It's a little, they're almost identical. Wonder if they were copying Hanwei just a bit. Yeah, basically identical. The Southern Swords version is just not quite as refined, just like the blade itself. Everything's just a little not as nice as the bottom one is the Hanwei. Everything's more finished on the Hanwei. And that's going to be the biggest difference between those two. They were clearly copying the Hanwei. Hanwei just did a better job at it. But you were talking $200 versus $350 for the Hanwei. Last one was going to be this beauty, one of my other pride and joys. This is as close of a replica to the Sparrow Sword as you can get, because this is the Sparrow Sword made by the man himself that made them for the movies, Tony Swatton. He's out of California, and he does amazing work, and every once in a while he makes some replicas. Not many and not often, but they're out there every once in a while. His standard that he puts out there is he puts an aluminum blade on it, so it's made for stage combat mostly, nice and light. Yeah, so this was going to be my daily carry on my sailboat, but now that I have this new Pirate Fashions one, I think it's getting replaced. See, those are the three that I have that are out there that are basically Sparrow Swords, almost identical. The other one that's out there is by Magnoli Props out of New Zealand. It's the other one that looks closest to the actual Sparrow Sword for sure, but they advertise it as a solid, good tempered steel, high carbon, good with steel with a good temper. It is high carbon steel. It is not well tempered. So they advertise it as being functional. I would strongly suggest it is not functional. I had it, and the temper, it was not tempered. So I bent it, and it stayed bent. So it looks incredible. I forget the price of that one offhand. So yeah, it was in the $300 range. So if you want the most accurate Jack Sparrow cutlass out there, other than the Swatton, if you can get a hold, if you can't get a hold of Swatton, or you don't want to pay that one, it's $800 roughly. So if you don't want that, or you can't get that, get the Magnoli Props for around $300-ish. But remember, it's just not going to be functional. It's just going to be a prop and look amazing. So those are basically the 4 options out there. But remember, only 2 of those even exist anymore: the Tony Swatton or the Magnoli Props. Yeah. I think one of the coolest things, biggest difference with this one is the really wide fuller. None of the others have that wide fuller, and I really like that. People sometimes call it, all the time, call it a blood groove. Yeah, you can still call it a blood groove, but it's a fuller. It was meant to lighten the blade. They realized they could take some steel away from here and have it be just as functional, so why not do it? So that's what these are for. Blood groove, does it help with the suction? Maybe a little bit, but it's not what it's for. It's to lighten the blade. Alright, so what's my overall score? I always give all my reviews, all the blades I do, a overall score. This one's, I'm giving a 9 out of 10. It is nearly perfect in every regard as far as I'm concerned. What did I take the 1 point away for? Basically half a point for a couple things. The shape of the grip is, while I love the grip itself, it's basically widest right by the guard, and just gets thinner and thinner down to the end here. It kind of forces your hand into the guard, which is not as comfortable when you're swinging around versus, if I can show you this one as just an extreme example, how it really thins out right at the end there. It keeps your hand a little bit better centered instead of forcing you into the guard. And that's how all these are. This one's, it's less pronounced, but it's thickest in the thickest in the center and thinner on both ends, so it's more, keeps you more centered. So that's one issue I have with that, with this one, where you can really feel it push your hand into the front of the guard. not a big deal. I'm not going to battle with it, so it really doesn't matter. It doesn't make it uncomfortable in the least. I just note it where, yeah, if I'm going to battle, my hands are really going to be pressed up against that guard because of that design. And the only other thing I took a little bit of point off for is I don't really care for the antique finish on the brass. It's too glossy for me. I think that's my biggest issue with it. I don't think it's bad. It's just not really for me, maybe. So if I'm even taking point away, maybe half a point for each of those, because it's not really a flaw at all. It's just I just happen to not like it. So I actually wanted to do this review first because I'm actually going to take a fine sandpaper to this and now remove that finish and bring it back to a more regular looking brass. I'm excited about that, and I may or may not do the same to the scabbard because it has the same finish on it. So those are my the only points I took away from. So what's the pros about it? Literally everything else. It has an amazing blade. Both the temper and the finish. I love this blade. The finish is really unique. A couple of the other ones have a bit of an antiquing to the blade, but it doesn't have the texture that this one has to it. It's like an acid etch. That is just so cool. So I give mad props to that. It's a finish that's not going to wear off, which is really cool. The grip leather. I really like this unique. It's the only one out there like it. You don't often see the spiral wrapped style at all for many swords, whether they're cutlasses, sabers, medieval swords. Most of them are this style where it's wrapped around and either glued or sewn down. This one's glued. The other one's sewn. So I like this. It makes it unique, sets it apart. In a similar fashion, the guard. This is the only one out of all of them that have this style guard. If you can see the details in here, like there's a ridge that goes down the center here, and the same thing, it has a dip here, kind of a V. None of the others replicas have that, and yeah, the Sparrow Cutlass didn't, so that is where it, compared to the Sparrow does not have that, so it does veer away from the exact Sparrow design with that. But what it doesn't veer away from is the historical design. This is an extremely historical design. You saw that Sparrow design a little less frequently than this design, with this more of a heart-shaped front to it with that rib in the center. That's the more popular design for a cutlass or a hanger like this back then. Good view. There we go. And all that detail, that's very common. So I think this is a great cutlass in that it combines the general idea of the Sparrow sword with a more common historical hilt to it. So I think that's really cool. And let's see, was there anything else? The scabbard, similar fashion. That was another thing. I love the scabbard. I love that it's leather. Just solid leather, versus the other ones had that wood in the center. Well, this was very common. They didn't always have leather, and in fact, the movie version is just leather like this. It doesn't have wood in it either. So that's more accurate than the other ones as far as a Sparrow Cutlass goes. The price. $200 plus shipping, so I get it for $230-ish is incredible for this thing. I have absolutely zero fears that this thing is gonna break or come loose in the least. There's nothing that can. It's absolutely solid. So the price $200 is amazing for that. It's at the same price as the other one that was discontinued, and this one's nicer anyway. So pretty great. And yeah, the last pro is just absolutely solid. Not a weakness on it. It's incredible. So overall, yeah, I said 9 out of 10. This thing's amazing. I think it's perfect for anyone looking for one of the best functional Jack Sparrow style cutlasses on the market, especially for the price. Or anyone that just wants one of the least expensive functional cutlasses out there and just happens to like the look of it. as far as functional cutlasses go, they're all in that 350 range for the most part, and up. I've got one Kingston Arms. It doesn't look like this style, so I didn't even bother bringing it out. But it's 350 or 400, and yeah, it's a different style. Amazing cutlass, but different style, more expensive. And there's a couple others that are very good cutlasses. Cold Steel has one that's like 400 or so, 350, 400. Great, but again, different style and more expensive. So $200, super functional, very close to a Jack Sparrow style cutlass. Yeah, I think this is. I love it, and it's definitely going to be my new main carry, and I'm going to keep it dull so I don't cut anybody or anything on the ship. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave any comments or ask me any questions, and I will see if I can answer them. Till next time, Silver Strike out.